rainfall warning has ended for the lower mainland, but the damage has certainly been done in North Vancouver after a number of homes were flooded overnight. Greg Harper live on the North Shore right now with the latest. Greg.
Kyle, the rain has stopped here, but the flooding continues in the district of North Vancouver this morning. We are here at From Road and Wendell Place, and you could see behind me there are a number of crews, and right now they're trying to control the flow of water that continues to rush down From Road, which looks more like a river here this morning. The flooding happened just before 10 o'clock last night. This by the heavy rainfall and debris, it caused Hastings Creek to burst its banks. And when it did, a number of homes had to be evacuated, at least 50 homes at one point. We have heard that some people have been able to return to their homes this morning. According to the district, over 500 sandbags were used to try and save as many homes as possible.
All this mud and water is overflowing this person's house right now, so we're just trying to dig out their driveway and make a path with the water so it doesn't overflow their house. It's pretty crazy.
So again, some people have been able to return to their homes, but those that live on the 35 and 3600 block of From Road here in the Lynn Valley area, still unable to. It's unsafe. There has been an emergency center that has been set up for them at Lynn Valley Elementary. Also hearing from the district, there's no major road closures, but of course, as you can see behind me, many people who do live here aren't going to be going anywhere. Kyle?
Greg Harper live in North Vancouver this morning. Greg, thanks for that. Meantime, Argyle Secondary School in North Vancouver will be closed for classes this morning because of heavy flooding. A river of water began flowing into the building just before 10:30 last night, and the damage is still not yet fully known. Crews have been working right through the night trying to redirect some of the water. It's knee-deep in some areas. People say this is the worst flooding they've ever seen in their neighborhood.
I was just driving by. I heard on the Scan BC that there's crazy floods in Lynn Valley, so I pulled my truck over, blocked out, put my dry suit on, started helping out my neighbors. Up on Ramsey, it's real bad. There's a fire department up there blocking off. They have plywood 4 or 5 feet high, and the water's just rushing through it. The river's going crazy. I mean, it's pretty bad up there.
In other news this morning, a Delta woman convicted of killing a 4-year-old girl in an impaired driving crash more than 6 years ago is expected to be released from prison today. 62-year-old Carol Berner was sentenced to 2.5 years in jail for killing Alexa Middlerair. She'll be out on statutory release after serving 2/3 of her sentence. It's still not known where Berner will live after her release. She'll have to follow a number of conditions, including getting treatment for substance abuse and abstaining from alcohol. Those conditions will continue with her until her sentence officially expires next September. The man accused of randomly stabbing a 55-year-old man to death on board a city bus in Kelowna last week appeared in court yesterday. 24-year-old Tyler Newton is charged with the second-degree murder of Cesar Rosales. Newton has a long record of property crimes and drug use and is expected back in court on November 20th. Advanced voting stations are set to open in Vancouver today with less than 2 weeks to go until the BC civic election. The city is providing 8 locations for 8 days of advanced voting. The stations will be open for 12 hours every day starting at 8 a.m. So with some simple math, that means Vancouver residents will have a total of roughly 768 hours of advanced voting prior to the election on Saturday, November 15th. Advanced voting has not been off to a smooth start in Surrey. An independent legal counsel has confirmed appropriate steps have been taken to ensure the integrity of the city's voting process. It comes after an error was made on the ballots during advanced polls on Saturday. Surrey's chief election officer also confirms all boxes containing all ballots cast before Saturday's temporary 55-minute voting suspension. They were segregated and secured. Americans are going to the polls today for their midterm elections. While President Barack Obama is not on the ballot, the outcome of today's votes could have a huge impact on the rest of his time in office. Republicans are expected to remain in control of the House of Representatives, and they need to gain just 6 seats to capture a majority in the Senate. At $4 billion, this is slated to be the most expensive midterm election in American history. Some rare agreement in Victoria these days where the Liberal government and the NDP opposition have common ground on taxis. The government wants to make sure Uber and any internet-based riding share services follow the law. Undercover agents will be issuing fines of up to $5,000 for companies operating without proper licensing. According to some reports, Uber is preparing operations in Vancouver despite opposition from the city.
I believe that through heightened enforcement and heightened awareness, we can get the message out to British Columbians that you must be licensed by the Passenger Transportation Branch. It is not good enough to simply voluntarily stand up and say, we believe that we provide a safe service.
We say maximum $20,000 fine should be there to send a clear message. You want to provide taxi service in BC, follow the rules. You break the rules, then you pay the consequences. That's what's needed.
The NDP has introduced a private member's bill to increase fines against unlicensed operators, but the government feels current penalties will be good enough. The Canucks began a challenging road trip in Colorado tonight, but the good news is a key member of the team is still with them. Kevin Bieksa made the trip with the club despite an injury against the Predators on Sunday night. The veteran defenseman got hit in the eye with a puck and did not return. The injury is reportedly not too serious because he's been listed as day-to-day. Still not clear if Bieksa will play against the Avalanche tonight, but you can watch the game regardless at 6 o'clock over on Sportsnet.
Here comes Cassie, drops it off for Richardson. He is dumped and down. A minor for
Edmonton Oilers captain Andrew Ference has been suspended for 3 games for an illegal check to the head of Vancouver Canuck Zach Kassian. It happened during the second period of Vancouver's 3-2 win on Saturday night in Edmonton. Kassian stayed in the game and did not appear to be injured. This is Ference's 3rd suspension. He's been in the NHL for 15 seasons.